All wings report in.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 3 standing by.
Red 4 standing by.
Yeah, Red 5 standing by.
Okay.
Do a barrel roll.
We are go.
Lock S foils in attack position.
Recording up and running. Hello, and welcome to episode 13 of the Council Forcecast, where we will be talking about the trailers. We're very late to the party, I'm afraid, but we're doing it, so, you know. Evan Nova.
Hello.
Jen Sarai.
Greetings.
And Antoine Bandelet.
Hello.
All four of us again. Whoa. Okay, we're going to be talking
So
about
Jurassic
the
World
Star Wars
comes
first
out
one,
in... I'm just kidding.
yeah?
So wait. We were not talking about Jurassic World?
No, let's not talk about that now.
Oh, fuck that.
Force Awakens, the second trailer. Let's do that one first.
Okay. Well,
Do you want to take us out first, Connor?
all right.
Seven.
The visuals in the trailer look really cool. I'm not super hot about the Mark Hamill voiceover because it's just those very typical trailer lines that you just put on the movie poster when the movie comes out. And I know people probably call me a heretic for saying this, but I actually didn't really like the Harrison Ford bit at the tail end because I've never really been all that interested in the character of Han Solo, and it's just one little instance where it's just super, super obvious that they're pandering to nostalgia. Like everything else in the presented in the trailer actually looks kind of interesting. It may not be classic EU, but at the same time, it's not like they're just purely aping the aesthetic of the original trilogy. It looks like they're, trying something new, even if it's only aesthetic. But as soon as they put in that Han Solo clip, it was just like, and we're back to just pandering to nostalgia.
Yeah, they definitely put that in there to get the fans hyped. They didn't really... Putting that in there didn't really add much to what you thought the story was going to be or what, you thought these characters were going to do. It was just kind of like, oh, if you guys weren't excited now, this will make you excited.
It definitely does work, if nothing else.
It does. I mean,
Well,
it's a good little teaser.
We're home. It's like, yes!
Why did
me,
you
it
make
was
him sound like a...
Yeah, for me, it was kind of a buzzkill. It's like everything else got me going, but then that bit right there was like, ugh.
It does kind
That's
of
because,
come in
Hunter,
unexpectedly.
I actually agree. I agree with that. That the end is definitely a gimmick and it's definitely pandering, but it works very, very well.
I agree.
It does.
You cannot deny how well it works.
No. Even someone like me who agrees with you, Connor, on I'm not too crazy about Han Solo and Chewbacca as characters, though. But even so, when I first saw that, I was just like, that is
I mean,
pretty
it was
much
all of us. It's just everyone's going, yes.
Like,
Even if you
when
didn't
I
like the majority of the
when
trailer,
I
that
saw
will get you
Harrison
pumped.
Ford in the Han Solo gear, I just got like waves and waves of just nostalgia memories just coming back. Like I remembered when I was like a little kid and I was watching New Hope for the first time on my dad's old VHS tapes. I was just like, wow, I never thought I would see that character on the big screen, that actor in those clothes again. It was just a really big revelation for me. And even if it's not a character I don't care about, just the fact that it's there and the fact that it's happening is just, really just interesting to see, if nothing else.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys' points about Han. I don't really care about Han that much. I was always more of like a Luke person. I was into him.
Amen.
But that specific line was like, it works on so many levels. The We're Home thing is obviously they're probably at Millennium Falcon. They probably got it back or whatever's happening. But it's also speaking directly. It's kind of breaking the fourth
To
wall.
the
It's
audience, like
talking
a
to the
bigger
audience
reason.
saying,
It's like Star
hey,
Wars
is back.
And
Exactly.
I loved it.
Jeez.
I know it definitely was pandering to the nostalgia train, but for me, in that instance, it was fine. Especially when it was at the end of the trailer. If it was doing it throughout, as you said, it might have done.
Right. Yeah.
No,
It gets
that'd be
away
bad,
with
but-
it. It's the kind of pandering that you could get behind because it's not like offensive or anything about it. I mean, credit where credit's due.
And it's not the only bit that breaks the fourth wall in my eye as well. You said about the Luke voiceover, which you didn't like for the majority of. I didn't dislike it in general, but the one line where he goes, "You have that power too," I was like, "Oh, love it." It was a great
Brilliant.
moment.
I will
That was
say
talking
this.
to the audience as well.
Yeah. I will say this. They made him sound a lot younger than he actually is. I mean, obviously, Mark Hamill is a voice actor who is able to, bear down or bear up his voice like that. I just found it a little strange that, if this is supposed to be like 60-year-old old Luke, obviously it would have sounded weirder if he had gone with his 60-year-old voice, like how he actually sounds. But it also just felt like, it almost felt like, I mean, it wasn't too far off from how Luke sounded in Return of the Jedi, so I was a little psyched out about that. I don't know. Because if Luke is supposed to be this kind of old wise mentor, he should sound kind of like an old wise mentor. He just kind of, I'm not saying the voiceover was bad. It was brilliant. He did a great job because obviously Mark Hamill's very talented with voicing. It's just it just kind of psyched me out a bit. It's like, well, if you're the mentor character, shouldn't you sound more like a mentor? It's just, I don't know. It's just a small nitpick from me. I don't know how you guys feel.
My only issue was mostly just the content of the voiceover. It was that sort of breaking the fourth wall thing. The sound of his voice itself actually sounded just fine to me because it's like, I kind of disagree. I thought there was that sort of note of elderly maturity in there. Like, I thought there was kind of a gravelly undertone going with the sort of traditional Luke voice that kind of told you that this is a much older Luke, but it's still the same guy, which is kind of the point that they're trying to get across. It's like, he's older, but it's still the same guy.
Okay, like it's for recognition's sake. I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
As a preface, I should actually say that I saw this trailer when it first premiered at Star Wars Celebration. So my experience with the trailer is probably going to be a little bit different from you guys, which I believe you guys all saw it online, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Me,
I wasn't at Celebration that day.
Right. For me, I saw it in a big theater with 5,000 other fans. So for me, the experience was extremely cathartic because you have that energy swelling from all these other fans.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually
Audience.
legitimately got teary-eyed at the end of the
Wow.
trailer when I even when it pulled up, when that first image came up and we see the crashed Star Destroyer and the X-wing. I felt it was really good imagery of the time that has passed and how the Empire and the Rebel Alliance to a sense are done, and now we know it's the First Order and the Resistance are this new thing going on. And then you hear Luke's voice. I don't know, just because we didn't think we were going to get these movies initially.
No.
To hear his voice,
Luke
even
Skywalker
if it
again.
yeah, even if it was a reiteration of his older lines, just to hear it re-recorded and just to hear the olderness. I actually do agree with you, Connor, that it felt like it felt older enough to me.
Same.
I mean, it wasn't like he wasn't like super young, but he didn't sound as old as I thought he would be. I thought he actually be even more older sounding.
I wasn't saying he sounded like a teenager. I'm just saying,
right. Yeah, I thought he'd be more old, or something.
Exactly,
like that. But,
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, hearing that, it just like there was so many feels during that trailer for me, that worked so well for me. And then seeing all the new imagery and then that ending, it just got me like super stoked.
Particularly for that crowd experience, it does a really good job of keeping that through line and having the sort of swelling and then the emotions making it, okay, you got the big build up to, you have that power too, and then you've got a big, just throws everything at you at once, and then you've got the whole, we're home, done. It's like, yes, it does a really good job of
brilliant
capturing that, roller coaster ride.
And I also like how it reveals a lot of stuff to you, but it also keeps you in the dark enough where you still don't really know what's going on.
Agreed.
It's just little tidbits like here and there, but it's like you still don't really get an idea of the big picture, which I like. Because the worst kind of trailers are the ones that spoil everything.
Oh, gotcha.
So I really appreciate that. So, I mean, should we also maybe touch on the actual
We should go shot by
going
shot.
on?
We should talk about shot by shot,
Yeah, well, maybe not shot by shot, but...
Well, there's only like a few shots, so not that much.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. It's a teaser
so it starts off on this desert planet with...
Which is called Jakku, by the way. We all thought it was Tatooine. It's actually a planet called Jakku.
Jakku, which is where Daisy Ridley's character resides.
I'm not too sure about... I don't see why it couldn't be Tatooine from what we've been given so far, and I think it would be more appropriate if it was Tatooine.
I mean, well, have you ever seen a down Star Destroyer on Tatooine? I haven't.
Well, yeah, but the point is you could do that. It could be something that happens.
Right.
And even if it would be a case of not having down Star Destroyer, seeing that in like a different planet, a snow planet or something, just having it not be Tatooine when everyone thinks Tatooine. It's not a case of pull it up from the carpet from a drug. We didn't just expect it because it was a desert planet. We expected it because it was thematically appropriate.
It's a Skywalker origin place.
Yeah. So it's just it's not like the end of the world. Oh no, it's not Tatooine. Broken story. Terrible. But it's just, to me, it's like, really, do we need another desert planet when we have Tatooine?
Fair enough.
I actually agree with that. I actually do agree with that. I thought that it was. I think JJ is playing a little bit too coy with not trying to harken back too much to the original trilogy. So maybe that was the reason for not going to Tatooine. But I think it should have been a Tatooine. Speaking of which, just a little detour, but still connected.
Yeah.
If you look at the promotional stuff, Rey's name is never mentioned.
Yes, I know. I have hope.
Do you think? Yeah. She's
It's
either
Ren,
a
isn't it?
Solo
Not
or a
Rey, isn't
Skywalker,
it?
I think. Rey. Her name's Rey.
Is it Ray? I thought it was Ren.
Yeah.
Ren, no.
Kylo Ren. You're Kylo Ren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
so
not
starts off the speeder's going through the desert, and in the background you see a giant downed Star Destroyer in the sand. Whoa,
Sorry.
what was that, Callan?
Sorry.
Okay, and also in the foreground, actually, where the speeder's going, you see actually also a downed X-wing fighter. So obviously, battle took place. This one here. Then it moves into what's the next sequence after that? Is that where you
Vader's face.
It's-
Both
Yes,
faces.
yes. Which is something I actually kind of want to talk about because
Yes, let's
if
talk
you
about it.
harken back to way before even the teaser trailer come out, there was these quote unquote leaked. I highly doubt these were leaked. I think this was deliberate. But there are these concept art images which Callan, you can flash up here right now. I'll send them to you after we're done with this. Of a sort of a mechanical looking being holding a charred up Vader helmet. And, when I originally saw that, I was like, it really made me perplexed. It was like, well, we saw Vader's armor, get burned up, obviously. So who is this being who is holding his charred remains? And I actually thought, like, it was fake. I didn't think that the whole, Vader helmet being all burned up was actually going to be in the film. But if you look at the trailer itself, there's a close-up shot of, Vader's helmet that was actually, caved in and burned because, obviously at the end of Return of the Jedi, Luke cremated Vader's armor. There's nobody holding it. It's just like on a little stand. So in the actual concept art, you actually see this being holding it. That's not actually in the film. So, but it does, intrigue me. Like if the Vader's helmet, burn thing is actually in the film, does that mean that the same being holding it is actually going to be in the film too? So that's just kind of made like is he the big bad guy?
Right. My personal thoughts is that this is Kylo Ren who's in this scene with Vader's mask. I personally think that Kylo is because, like, if you think about it, the Sith are gone. Sidious and Vader died. There's no one to teach future generations of Sith. So someone will have to raid temples or raid, just relics and things like that. And one of the things he finds, or a person that he might want to look up to and be inspired by, is Vader. Especially if he's making this new First Order, he needs some sort of image, which is why I think he has that mask. He's trying to play into Vader. And if if you guys have seen the Vanity Fair, have you guys seen the Vanity Fair spread? We see that Kylo doesn't always wear his mask. So I think he's using that just as a symbol, not because he needs it, because he needs to breathe.
Hold that image up, Connor.
Yes, right there. He doesn't need it to breathe, or it's like supporting him. It's just that I think he's using that as an image, like he's kind of like Hitler when he I mean like
sorry.
no,
It's fine. Just throwing the Hitler card out. Yeah.
No, I mean, but there is a lot of Nazi imagery in this trailer. If you think about it, Germany in the First World War was like decimated, and that's kind of what could be happening now. Is the Empire is decimated after this big Death Star explosion, all kind of stuff. And what comes back out of it, something even worse. And so I'm thinking that could be the case. Like this guy could be like a Hitler-esque kind of theme going on. But that's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing with you, Antoine. That totally could be the case. Just my only argument to that is in those concept art images, the being holding it is like half mechanical, whereas Kylo Ren's character is completely human.
Well, maybe it could be a scene from the very tail end of the movie where it's like something happens to him and he becomes half mechanical, and it's just kind of a bit where it's just a bit where he's just kind of sitting there as this cyborg being, looking at the helmet of his predecessor, kind of realizing that he's getting closer and closer.
So what he wants to be
closer to being just like this guy.
That's very interesting. I did not think of it like that. And if that would be the route they were going, that would be very, very interesting. But another thing to touch on, another thing you were saying, Antoine. Yes, the Sith are gone, but there are also the Inquisitors, which we pretty much know for a fact are gonna be major facets in this movie. So it's not that. Do we know exactly whose Kylo Ren's character is? Like, do we know whether or not he's an Inquisitor? Do we know at this point? I don't think we do.
We don't know yet.
We also don't know whether or not the Inquisitors use that standard blade for everyone, or if it's just a certain rank or certain type of Inquisitor. Because we know in the Rebels trailer, which we'll get to later, that they use them now as like standards, but we know that Kylo Ren doesn't. So is that because they have different Inquisitors with different weapons, or is it because he's not an Inquisitor? We don't have that information yet.
He could be a Sith pretender is what I'm thinking. My personal thought now, because I thought previously that he was an Inquisitor, but now I think he might be a Sith pretender.
Well, personally,
or just a Force pretender.
I don't think that he's a Sith pretender, because one of the big aspects in the classic EU is that the Sith Order was actually successfully obliterated to the last man several times. But what happened is some Jedi or some random Force wielder got hold of some Sith holocron or some bit of Sith lore or something and reformed the Order based around that. Like the character of Darth, the character of Darth Ruin is probably the best example. He had nothing to work with. He built his Order from scratch. There were no survivors that he could work with, but he reformed the Sith Order based around himself. And maybe that's kind of what they're referencing back to with the character of Kylo Ren, in that he's doing the same thing. He is reforming the Sith Order based around himself and his own ideals.
It would definitely
Very possible.
It wouldn't be too out of the norm considering what like you said with Darth Ruin in the past. So that could also be a case. So moving later in the trailer, we see next up in the trailer is the scene where the lightsaber is being given.
No,
to,
actually, it's Luke
Really?
placing his hand on.
Oh,
R2-D2.
right,
Yeah.
and then the one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we see R2-D2. That's always fun.
Yeah.
so it's perfect.
Well, no, it's the
C-3PO,
first
though.
time we've seen him in because he wasn't in the other
No,
trailer.
I wasn't laughing at you. I was just saying, it's good to
Yeah,
see him.
and we see this being who we're like 90% sure is Luke at this point. Put his hand on him. His cloak is up, so you don't see him, but mechanical hand.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys wonder why
Well-
his prosthetics are gone?
Sick.
Sure.
Sure.
Personally, I think, well, it's entirely possible
idea.
they may have. Personally, I think it's probably may have just been a logical thing done by the character of Luke Skywalker himself. He just replaced the original hand and upgraded, and decided with the new hand they didn't want to bother with the synth flesh because he was more concerned with easy maintenance.
Yeah.
Which in itself is kind of a utilitarian decision that Anakin Skywalker also made, and it could be reflecting that Luke is kind of starting to stray a little bit close to what his father was. Or it could be he's taking the best parts of what Anakin Skywalker was and melding them with his own ideals, but without, taking the basket case elements of Anakin
Exactly.
Skywalker.
Thank God.
Yeah, it wouldn't be anything too new. I mean, if you look at Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith, Anakin's hand is different. So
Yeah.
it's nothing that hasn't been done before, and obviously new technology. If you don't want to be have a prosthetic that's like out of date.
Go through the classic expanded universe. Darth Vader lost his right hand 7 times. I counted it up, ladies and gentlemen. He lost his right hand 7 times. So is it completely impossible to conceive that maybe the same thing happened to Luke? Prosthesis got destroyed, had to replace it.
It's got the whole.
I mean,
Skywalker
it
issue.
even got damaged in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it
sure.
could be a case
Yeah.
of, I don't want to keep getting new synth flesh put on. I mean, if the battle's continued and the fight's gone on with the Empire, then he's going to have been on the battlefield a lot. Easy, like Connor says, easy maintenance. God, take the skin flesh off.
Yeah.
He probably just gave up on it after a while until the battle's over or something.
I agree. I think it might be the upkeep. I think he just got rid of it because it just had a lot of upkeep. And if he is like away from the universe or like in hiding or whatever is happening right now, then he might just like said, I don't need to, like, my worldly tether doesn't need to be like here all the time. I just like let my mechanical hand be my mechanical hand.
Yeah.
There is no flesh.
There is no
only
flesh.
The Force.
It's like he's at the point where he's willing to accept his disability rather than
Right.
try hiding from it. Which is, in a way, kind of what synth flesh represents. You're trying to conceal the fact that you don't have a hand. You're hiding from your disability. Whereas, he's kind of accepting the fact that he has it. But he's not taking it to the same extent that Anakin Skywalker did, who basically embraced this new hand. It's like, look at this big metal thing. It's so much better than my old hand.
I can
It's
punch people so much better now.
Yes, it's like I would thank Dooku for cutting off my arm if I didn't want to crush his head in with this big metal hand.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you just know he just sat there admiring it like on those dodgy days.
Yeah.
So
All right, let's move on to the next image.
Yeah, lightsaber next.
Yeah. So
Yes.
somebody
Yeah.
is handing Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber to somebody.
Pretty sure
That-
it's Leia that's perceiving it.
It's Leia for
perceiving it.
sure.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what it's implied. We don't know. I don't want to.
I would place bets.
I would place
That's
bets
Leia.
too. I'm totally agreeing with you, but I just don't want to say anything
Yeah,
definite.
no, you can't say definite, but
The interesting thing isn't even about the shot. It's about the fact that they went and said that someone recovered it.
Yeah.
That's interesting because that happened in the EU, as we know. It was given to Mara Jade. But
Yeah, very interesting that
yeah.
they're bringing that in. I mean, obviously, it is arguably the most iconic lightsaber in Star Wars. So
yeah,
I wouldn't say arguably at all. It is, when people think lightsaber, they think Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. which I'm certain makes a whole bunch of Jedi craftsmen and artisans in universe super pissy because they just look at that thing and go, "Oh, what the hell is that thing? That's not
it's
artful."
such an ugly lightsaber. Yeah, it's
Myself
such an
included,
ugly
I
lightsaber.
hate the design of that thing. It's nothing
Yeah,
bad.
me
It's,
too.
just, I just
It's my
dislike
least
it.
favorite. Yeah, it's my least favorite lightsaber.
It's not
Yeah.
awful, but it's definitely not desirable.
I got the Anakin Skywalker Force Effects lightsaber over in the corner. I've handled it. It's the sort of thing that in and of itself is a practical design, but it wasn't designed with aesthetics in mind. It was designed to be functional.
Which is the same as Anakin, I guess. He wasn't exactly
Yeah,
one for
yeah.
aesthetics, was he?
Yeah, so that's very interesting, and it's also kind of goes with the whole passing the torch thing. You know, you have this older woman handing this relic, quote unquote, to a new generation. So that fits well with the theme that we're going for.
Oh, just as a side note, it's actually an alien character. I don't know. It's an orange alien character, which is being played by Lupita Nyong'o. I probably messed up her last name. The motion capture.
She's the
woman
one who's
doing
getting
that.
the lightsaber.
No, she's the one handing it off. It's a
handing it,
pirate.
sorry.
It's a pirate or something that's like handing it off or something. That's been
Pirate.
confirmed.
Oh,
Yeah, like in the concept art that was in the Force Awakens panel, not panel, but the that room they had with all the costumes and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a pirate person or whatever.
oh, so that could explain how they got it. You know, maybe there was a
Right.
raid on Bespin one day.
Scavenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Working as a janitor on the Bespin.
Right. And then the next
the
thing is
room.
you have that power too.
Oh, I love that. Such a great line.
Yeah.
Speaking to the audience.
Which
as
I think
well
he
as
might be
people-
talking. Yeah. I think he might be talking to Rey at that point, or Finn, whoever.
Whoever's trying to convince.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
that's
next
what I meant.
images are the X-wings coming over, and I
Yeah.
just love how excited Poe is
Brilliant.
to be a pilot. He's
Yeah,
just
he's
like,
loving
I'm
life.
in
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, he is loving his life right
Oh,
now. It's like,
it's great.
my life is complete.
Yeah. And
I'm just
that's
glad to be
excitement.
here, ladies and gents.
Yeah. It's just like, woo.
And I find it so ironic because in the teaser trailer, he was so serious.
Yeah,
He was
like-
like,
Yeah.
But in this trailer, he's like, whoa!
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's
Which is
And
cool.
actually,
Yeah. Sorry.
in the when they had the panel for the Force Awakens, when he was on stage, he was clearly the most. He was definitely a fan of Star Wars. Versus the other two, I think, who were like general fans or casual. Especially Daisy, she was definitely casual. Not Poe Dameron. Oscar Isaac, he's a legitimate fan. Same in the same way as Sam Witwer is a fan of Star Wars, which I appreciate a lot.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams, too.
It's not a prerequisite of being in it, obviously, but it does definitely help. So you get an
It helps,
appreciation
yeah.
for it because they understand the weight of what they're doing. Not that the others necessarily don't appreciate that as well, but you know,
Course,
it's not,
course.
you don't get that connection unless you're actually a fan.
For him, it's more than a job.
Yeah. And,
Right.
And those X-wings, I mean, they're still pulling them off perfectly, in my opinion. Like looking with the way they were moving around, I was like, yes,
It looked
they feel
great.
real. Thank you. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't feel like CG, even though they are CG.
Yeah,
they didn't
that's which I
yeah.
love about that's what they've done so far for all of these stuff in Star Wars, on the new films, for the most part anyway. The vehicle wise, it all feels real. You know,
It looks
that's how I
crisp.
felt
It looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
The next we
That's-
have the Kylo Ren's lightsaber in action,
That's
showing
about
that
it.
it's usable.
You don't
for
even
sure.
see who it hits.
No, but I'm sure whoever's on the other end is not happy.
No, not happy to be.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, but you see that come in, so nothing really to say except the area that he ignites in and looks messed up. Like fire is everywhere, everything's destroyed.
Yeah,
They're
Probably the
attacking
final
something.
battle in the film or something. I don't know.
or
be.
like a short clip showing how evil he is
Though
before we
I doubt-
face him fully.
I think everything we're seeing right now is from the first 30 minutes of the movie. I don't think anything we're seeing
Really?
is from. Considering J.J. Abrams, I don't think we're seeing anything from the third act.
No,
Right.
It,
Yeah.
that is
Good
Abrams'
point, good
MO.
point.
Yeah.
could just all be like all of the battle stuff could just be like basic flashover saying, "Oh, look, this is what the Empire has become." Like panning shots, everything. Like this is what we're
That could
fighting.
work
and
too,
move
yeah.
into it.
Okay.
But before we
Another
move on from that
action shot.
lightsaber, though, before we move on from that lightsaber, though,
Yeah,
just before I forget, Ray's
Yes.
Staff.
that
Yeah.
also seems to be a light pike, possibly. That's interesting. I'm looking
Yes,
forward to see how
actually,
she uses that.
it is confirmed that she is being trained or was trained for the movie. And what's the name of that? It's called Bojustu,
Yeah,
the
something like
martial art for bow staff,
staff fighting.
shoes. Yeah, and they said that she's pretty good, with it, which is awesome. But yeah, she is using a staff. That is her weapon. I don't know if that's her weapon for lightsaber. I don't know if they're going to outfit it with a lightsaber or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
Well, it doesn't have to be mounted with a lightsaber. It could just be, an electro staff or just a staff
Right.
of general.
It probably
Exactly.
will be have like a little end of the lightsaber, but just for the sake of being the iconic weapon, or
Yeah.
maybe she'll transition from that weapon, like she'll get it destroyed, and then suddenly she'll go to a lightsaber. I don't know.
Now,
But it'd be
thinking of
interesting.
that-
I want to see her
I
using
see.
it like
I actually see that being more likely. the Pike.
Yeah, not thinking of that. Considering that she's either, for me, she's either a Solo or a Skywalker. Do we think she's already had training before this point in the movie? Like maybe she had some minor training already.
Yeah, and then
Assuming
she's
already
or something. She could be like an Aang character. She gets some training and panics a bit and goes and runs. Or,
Right.
Yeah, kind of like a Naya Solo from.
Which is why she's
Legacy.
on Jakku, because she's like, I don't want to be a part of anybody right now.
That could work.
Like,
You know,
I don't want to be. a
kind
part
of also
war,
kind of
whatever.
fits with the whole Force Awakens thing.
Yeah.
Again.
Right. Like, you need to
Going
come
back to
back.
the
You need to
title.
help us, you know. I'm getting
Okay,
too old
so-
for this sort of thing.
I'm getting too old for this shit. I need Luke Skywalker to hold the torch.
Yeah.
Okay, so next
Han's
up.
lightsaber.
Well, no, it's Kylo Ren using the Force, so he's Force sensitive. We
Oh,
know
yeah.
that much. And the Nazi imagery of the new First Order flag
Stormtroopers.
and stormtroopers, which is great imagery. I love that imagery. So good.
I still love the designs for the new stormtroopers. They look great.
I like him too. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Reminded me of Revan, Dark Side ending, when he's sort of just standing over his HK-47 army. Just,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
His
do we
mask
know
is
for
dead
sure
right by-
if that's him who's standing over?
Oh.
I don't know. I just remember. I just saw that and imagined it being like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it is him, but
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't know. We don't know if that's Kylo or not.
no, I doubt it is. But it just the shot itself reminded me of that. Is what I mean.
Okay,
Especially
okay.
paired with like the Revan mask that they're obviously trying to homage in the.
Yeah, very interesting that they went for design so close to Revan's.
Well, it is
Yeah,
a really
and
good
they-
design. People love it. So
Yeah.
That might tie into it if they really want to make this whole hey, like we're gonna
I-
talk back to
I-
Legend stuff. No, don't doubt it. Don't doubt it.
I don't know.
They can make mention of Revan.
Revan seems an odd one to go for.
I know,
this
yeah, it's such
era.
a far off. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's so
it's-
far off.
it would be
But
a
it could
weird
just be
threat.
it's just a throwaway line. Oh, you know, he looked at the relics of Revan or something. It'd be cool.
Yeah, maybe
I mean,
it's
to
the
be
Galus
fair,
relics of
I
the helmet he
mean,
liked.
Bane was established in
Yeah.
the Clone Wars, so
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
and
was
fun
completely
fact, I
different to
mean,
everything he was before.
Revan was gonna be in Clone
Yeah.
Wars along
Yeah.
with Bane, so we know that they at the very least acknowledged him.
But do remember that Bane looked completely different. He looked like some sort of samurai
Yeah.
relic hunting. I mean, he had his own temple. Who built that? It wasn't like he had people to build
Yeah.
it. Did he? Yeah, so if they wanted to homage Revan, then they probably would have gone a completely different route. Although
Fair
granted,
enough.
his look probably would have been kept for him, but still,
Well, Revan's design isn't exactly that complex.
yeah, and it is so powerful.
I mean, originally, you know, Bane, what they were gonna do in TCW was obelisk armor, which I wouldn't have liked personally.
Don't know.
Yeah, but then we continue. It's just a bunch of action shots showing how I like what was the name of the author who's doing the novelization for the film? Forget
You mean
his
the
name.
dude we
Alan
sat next? You mean the dude we
Foster.
sat
Yeah.
next to, Antoine?
Yes, the guy we sat next to, Alan Dean Foster. He actually, the one work he described, Force Awakens, was fun, and I think the rest of these images are showing, this is going to be a fun movie to
Yeah, well,
to
it's an
Oh, it definitely
adventure.
will.
That's what it
Yeah.
is. It's not like a depressing sort of film. I mean,
Right.
come on.
Even if it ends up being completely terrible and we all hate it, we will at least have fun watching it, like undeniably.
It will not
Yeah.
be boring. It
Yeah.
will not be boring.
Yeah. So
Should we also mention the Silver Stormtrooper that Matt really likes?
yes,
Stormtrooper.
Brienne of Tarth in Stormtrooper armor.
Yep, Brienne of Tower.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about that? First ever female Stormtrooper in the film. How about that?
She's very shiny. I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan
very
of the chrome
shiny, like what-
armor.
I'm cool with
Like-
the chrome.
I want
It
to be
looks
slightly
great. I think it
dulled a
looks
bit more.
awesome.
Yeah, same with the TIE fighters are chromey now too, right? Am I crazy about that? They're chrome.
Yeah, they definitely got
Yeah,
a
right.
more metallic
Yeah.
finish.
Not as chromy, but chromy.
Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of that armor, but I'm looking forward to the character.
I like the
I think
cape
it's
too. I like the little
awesome.
cape on the side.
Little
Yeah,
cape,
that's
Feels
yeah.
regal.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it shows that she's a high-ranking, trooper
Yeah.
commander.
Right. Like Republic Commando status, but
They're probably
First
gonna do
Order.
like a thing where like she's like trying to hunt them down, and they all think she's like some badass, and then she takes her helmet. I was like, "You're a woman," because they do that in films all the time.
I don't think
I
that
hope
will.
they don't.
Kathleen Kennedy won't let that happen.
I hope not. I hope not, but could be a possibility.
Bad film to set that
Yeah.
tone if I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you have like any closing thoughts about the trailer before you go to our next one?
Well,
Powerful.
I do want to say this.
Yeah, go.
About we already touched on Han Solo and Chewbacca. Something I actually really like is I remember there were some rumors and even a couple of early concept art images of they were gonna have Chewbacca with a robotic arm, and I'm really happy they didn't go for that because it would have looked hideous.
Yes, it would not work well with Wookiee aesthetic.
It would not. So I'm really happy they didn't go for that because that was a rumor I was afraid. I was like, no, don't give Chewie a robotic arm.
Yeah. I didn't see that. So
If
yeah,
you're gonna give
interesting.
him a prosthetic appendage, at least make it out of wood or something. Keep it the Wookiee aesthetic.
Yeah. That would have been better.
But just a
One-
robotic arm. It just seems so out of place for a Wookiee.
a bunch of internet memes I've been seeing just since we're coming to the end of the trailer, and we got that shot of the Millennium Falcon flying into the rear engine of the crashed Star Destroyer. Like, I've been seeing a lot of internet memes where people have been gauging the size of that Star Destroyer, and they've been pointing out that it's ridiculously large. Like, we're talking like the size of Darth Vader's Super Star Destroyer from Empire Strikes Back, which, which to me, it's not that big a deal because in the classic EU, especially in Dark Empire, there were Super Star Destroyers that were really just conventional Star Destroyers upsized. They weren't, the big
The long,
knife.
yeah.
Yeah, no, there are the larger versions. Also, is that actually the Star Destroyer that they're flying into the back of? Because I saw that ship and thought it didn't look like the same ship that was at the start.
It's kind of iffy for
It could be. It could be.
Yeah, not
who
sure.
knows?
And if we want to talk about the proportions of Star Destroyers, Rebels screwed that up the most because they had the Ghost be like big enough to take up their entire cargo bay, which was taken up by a Tantive 4, or by Tantive 4. So it's
could have
always
just been a small hangar.
Yeah, but
Or was it could have been a frigate, or was it a Star Destroyer that they were going?
was a
Yeah, it
Star
was. It was
Destroyer,
Tarkin's.
yeah.
It was Tarkin's.
It was a Star
it was
Destroyer,
Tarkin's
yeah.
flagship, and it was tiny. It was like a victory size.
Maybe
you're right.
the ship, their ship wasn't being brought into the main hangar bay, but is being brought into the smaller forward hangar bay because it's pointed out that Star Destroyers do have two.
Yeah, but you see it on the
Yeah.
other side one, the same one that the Tantive was taken into, and it was proportionately like you see the full triangle and them like taking up a good portion of it. So it wasn't accurate there, but it's you take what you get. It must annoy the ship buffs though.
Yes.
Yeah.
We feel your pain. All the machine heads out there, we feel your pain. Especially Callan.
So yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about for that one?
Pretty much good at this point, yeah.
Personally, I'm not a very big fan of Kylo Ren following the Revan aesthetic. If they're trying to push him as a successor to Vader, then maybe they should have his helmet look a little bit more Vader-y instead of trying to steal Revan's thunder, because
Yeah.
it's another one of those things where it's like they're saying that they got rid of the EU to give themselves creative freedom to do whatever they wanted. Well, if that's the case, how about you just stop ripping off the EU and actually do something new?
That's
It's got
kind
a
of weird.
point.
I mean, I don't know where you're coming from because I don't know. I'm not sure what your stance is on it. But most fans are like, they want them to harken back to the legend so that they can validate themselves. But you're saying you don't want them to harken back because
if they're going to do something new, then I want it to be completely removed from the thing that I'm into so I can just ignore it.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
Speaking of
I'm
which,
fine with them validating old things though.
speaking of which, we want to do that whole canon thing after.
Yeah,
the
that a
films
lot of you
come
guys
out.
have suggested.
Yeah, so that'll be something we will do. As
Yeah.
well as that, after the films are finished, we'll probably work our own little canon way around it because they're going to be
Yeah, yeah.
holes we need to fill.
Exactly.
We'll fit it into the old.
That'll be a big episode, but we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, we'll fuse it with the old. It will work.
I just want to close my thoughts off where I really like Connor's idea regarding the concept art, where that's the ending of the movie, and he's all like burned up, all mechanical now. It's like, I'm one step closer to being you. I actually really hope that's what they do now, because that actually sounds like an excellent way to close off the movie. It's like, oh, they think they killed him. They were wrong.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Just that would be interesting to me.
They definitely really need to nail that whole 3-film villain thing. If he's going to be like a Zuko thing and reform at the end, fine. But they need to make sure they have a through line for his character. Because if it's just a case of he's dispensed with in his first film, they've done the Maul thing, which is just about it.
Yeah, that's something we were talking about earlier. One of the biggest flaws of the prequel trilogy is that they tried to have a new villain for every movie. Where, well, unless Count Dooku was in 2 movies, but he was barely in Revenge of the Sith. Whereas the original series had Darth Vader, every single movie died at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, it just gave him more time to develop as a character.
I've said this before, and I'm definitely going to end up saying it again. But the problem with the prequels is that George Lucas went through the prequels making things up as he went, and his handling of the villains is proof of that. Instead of building these guys up as true threats to the audience, it's like he just uses them as plot devices to push ahead the storyline of the given episode. But as soon as they stop being useful, he kills them off, but is then forced to scramble to come up with a new villain to replace them. It's like this is extremely evident in episode 3. Dooku was very clearly killed off at the start of the episode just to get him out of the way, but then he realized that, oh shit, now I need another villain to occupy
Grievous.
space. And
Yeah.
he came up with Grievous.
Grievous.
Yeah. Whereas to me, I think episode 3, like one major change that could actually make the movie, would have actually made the movie much better, is if they actually reversed the placement of Dooku and Grievous within the story. Had it so Dooku continues on as the primary villain, and he's the guy who gets killed by Kenobi on Utapau, whereas Grievous, who's up
Just
to
this
that
little
point
underling who.
yeah, whereas Grievous, who up to that point had only been featured in the expanded universe, he'd be someone that only the hardcore fans would know about, and they'd just be happy to see him on screen. He'd be the one who'd be sacrificed to Anakin Skywalker's rage and butchered at the start of the film.
Amen. I agree.
But yeah, that's just my opinion, and I guess it's about time we move on to the next trailer.
Yeah, we can only hope they don't do that for the
Rebels.
for Kylo Ren. And his-
Season 2.
Yep.
Yes.
You want to take
This
the
one's a
reign
lot.
on
We're
this
not-
one, Antoine?
We're not going to do shot by shot on this one because this is
Oh,
No,
too
no, no,
long,
no, no,
too
no.
long. And there's so many TIE
We'll go,
fighter
how about we'll
shots.
go like sequence for this one or something?
Yeah, we'll do it by sequence. Yeah,
Take
I like
the
the
reins on
trailer.
this one.
I was excited by it. I wasn't as like thrilled with it as I was with the Force Awakens stuff, but still, I'm really stoked for where this is going. But it was very, I want to say it's generic, but I felt like it just did what it needed to do. You know, I don't have too many thoughts about it. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch the new season. I will say, though, I was taken aback by Vader's voice at first. I was like, that doesn't sound right. And then I found out later that it was
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, it was the original actor. And I was like, oh, okay. But same with Frank Oz and Yoda. When they had Yoda come back, I was like, that doesn't sound like Yoda. But,
I
you know.
think it's because
Well,
it
that's
lacks
small
the
nitpicks.
bass.
It's
been so
It
long,
lacks the
too.
bass in the voice. I think that's why.
Right, yeah.
Call me
and,
crazy, but my personal favorite Darth Vader is Matt Sloan from The Force Unleashed, because he still
Force
had that
Unleashed. Oh,
really.
shoot. Did I just
Yeah.
disconnect? Yes, I
Nope,
did.
you're here. We can still see you.
You're still here. You're still here.
We can still.
Oh, apparently he's about to go, guys. He'll be back in a second.
Oh, yep.
So
La-
here, 3, 2, 1, gone.
Yeah, there he goes. Going.
You called that
going,
perfectly,
gone.
Callan. How did you do that?
The force is strong with me. We're back. Sorry about that.
Oh, how dare you have bad internet, Antoine? We will have our revenge. All right.
Okay, where
now,
were we?
as I was saying, I was just pointing out that a lot of fans will probably consider me a heretic for saying this, but my favorite Darth Vader voice is actually Matt Sloan from The Force Unleashed. I honestly think he did better than James Earl Jones himself. And, you know, I actually would have been much happier to hear him in the Rebels thing than James Earl Jones because, well, the fact James Earl Jones's voice has aged a lot, and it is so evident.
Yeah.
I can.
I
agree
personally
with
don't
that.
think I don't think it sounds bad. It just sounds very, very different from what he did originally.
Right. I
Yeah.
think his performance has changed.
Yeah, you still get that commanding, baritone. It's just the wavelength is altered significantly.
Yeah, he's a little bit more softer in the voice, which doesn't work for Vader. You have to be clipped
Yeah.
and brutal.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's bad.
No, not
And
bad.
it's not the
Just-
worst.
just-
Not the worst Vader voice I've ever heard either.
No, it's just
But-
it's enough off to
Notice.
So
Notice,
it's like
yeah.
it's like the uncanny valley. It's just off just enough that it's
Yeah.
like you know.
Yeah. But on a totally different note, the Palpatine voice that they used there is clearly Sam Witwer, and I can never get enough of Sam Witwer as Palpatine. Like,
Yeah.
he
Really
freaking owns that role. It's like, god
great.
damn it, so many of his scenes in Force Unleashed 1 just sent chills down my spine. Like, just cackling like a lunatic while Starkiller's being thrashed around and then blasted out the window. And the whole time you just have him standing there. It's like, just laughing hysterically because
Yeah.
someone's in pain. And it's like,
Kill him, my apprentice. Kill him.
never gets old. The Emperor having fun is just beautiful to watch, despite
Yeah.
the horror of it.
But what I do like about this trailer as well is that it does set up the threat that they've set themselves
It
up
does.
because
It
they
does
do
very
do get the attention of the Empire now, and that's the bad thing. I mean, it's good because you're starting to make a dent or whatever, but like it sucks because now you're gonna have to deal with Vader and the full might
Yeah.
of the Empire. So
Yes,
that was
that's one of the
something I
biggest
didn't-
aspects.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. Well, that is like one of the biggest aspects of the trailer. This is like, the Empire is ready. The Empire is going to take these people seriously. The entire galaxy is opened up to these rebels now. The threat is very, very real. And I really do feel like I almost feel like that was like their intention with this trailer. They're trying to say like, the whole galaxy is up for grabs now. Everything is bigger. Everything has a much more stakes. And I actually think that feel got put across very well.
I agree. It's what we need to expect from the second series.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the whole thing where Vader gets too involved, though. That's the problem. I mean, at the end of the second series, I wanted it to be more subtle than it was, but him doing everything himself, I dislike. I know he's an on the boots on the ground kind of guy. And, he's the person who goes out and gets problems done. But I don't feel that this problem is significant enough to warrant his, presence yet.
Attention.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how many of this stuff is going on all over the galaxy, and he's going to single-handedly take it on.
Not everybody has killed an Inquisitor, Callan.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the
and
reason
not
why
every
he's
rebel,
coming.
not every rebel cell has 2 Jedi with them.
Right,
Yeah.
that's the reason why he's there. It's not because of what happened. It was because there's Jedi involved, and that's kind of the thing. If you get through an Inquisitor, that's when Vader gets involved. That's what Dave Filoni said originally. He was like, if the Inquisitor ever found like Obi-Wan, they would have to call up Vader, but hey, we found Obi-Wan here. You might want to come check this out. Like that's kind of like the prerequisite. If you get through an Inquisitor, that means okay, you need to talk to Vader now. So
I'm totally with Antoine on this one. I think it is justified for Vader to come in. It's like killed an Inquisitor. Killed several Imperial officers, destroyed an entire Star Destroyer, and now they know that there are 2 Jedi present. It's like, okay, Vader does need to get involved. He's got involved for less.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not saying it's
let's be honest.
problem uniquely, bound to Rebels.
My issue with it is that they did justify Vader's presence with everything that the good guys accomplished, but I say that they did it way too soon. Like, it's like all the stuff that took place in the season 1 finale should have been saved for season 2. They should have let the Inquisitor stick around as the primary villain for a lot longer. Let we, the audience, get attached to him as a villain, and then when he finally kicks it, it's like, and then Vader shows up, and that's the point where it's like, now shit just got real. Shit has hit the fan, and it ain't coming off for a while.
Yeah, have the escalation be
I agree.
have the escalation be the new Inquisitors coming and having like 3 Inquisitors at once, and then having
You okay?
what?
No, I was talking to
hang on.
Antoine. He said ow.
And Ezra. Have Ezra be... I forgot his name then, sorry. Have Ezra have to step it up with the combat side of things so that he has to help Kanan fight, because, he can't fight 3 Inquisitors himself. Have that be the whole story of the second series, the 3 Inquisitors here, and then at the end of that, when they can overcome that problem, which would be impressive in itself, they then bring Vader in. Like, because they've got the Hands of the Emperor still around before you get to Vader level. Why don't they send one of them? Have, like, a Mara Jade level opponent come to deal with them.
Well, I think it's because the whole point in the classic EU, the whole point behind the Hands of the Emperor is that they were top secret operatives who were only known to like Vader, the Emperor, and a couple high-ranking officers. They weren't widely known. They're not the sort of people that you send for enforcement work, which is what you would do with 2 Jedi. They're assassins. They're the sort of people that you send where it's like, there's someone over there who's causing me problems. Make that person disappear. Okay.
That's my point. They were combatively capable, and they were the sort of people that would be able to take out Jedi. I mean, Mara Jade herself. Think of her as the prime example.
Oh yeah, no problem. But the thing is, they wouldn't have been able to work as primary villains for the series because their whole point is that they're quick in, quick out sort of operatives. They're not the sort of people who are going to stick around as primary villains, leading the charge against the good guys. They're the sort of people who sneak in through the good guys' back door while they're on the toilet, jab and plant a knife in their ribs.
Fine.
They work for like.
Sorry, have the 3 Inquisitors be the main threat of the series and the main threat that's visible to the heroes, and then have the Hand being like constantly there in like in the shadows, and we see little glimpses of how they're undermining them and just leading to the end where they do gut them, and then have one of the characters be grievously injured or even killed, and then they defeat the Hand and it steps in Vader's side of things. Have the second arc be the whole Empire striking back, scenario where they actually start to win again.
That could work.
But then just finish it off with saying, yeah, your victory just made things a whole hell of a lot tougher for you.
Yeah, because look what you brought.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy is the worst case scenario and he has come for you.
That would, to me, have had a lot more power. And it would have improved the scale of the Empire as well, because the Empire isn't just Vader and Palpatine, like a few Inquisitors. This is a trillions of
Galaxy-spanning organization.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
So they can't just send Vader to solve every single problem, even one as significant as this. There are going to be many other people like this.
Yeah, I'd say they made the same mistake in the first season by introducing Tarkin as well. It's like they brought him in too soon. Like Tarkin is one of those high-ranking political officers who answers to Palpatine and Vader alone. And which means that this is a guy who wields a huge amount of power, huge amount of influence. He's concerned about the big picture. And it's like, yes, the rebels on Lothal are starting to become more of a problem, but it's still the sort of thing that he would be delegating to someone else. Like, at the most, it's like these characters would be dealing with the local Moff, not a Grand Moff who's in charge of the entire Outer Rim.
Yeah.
I think
Actually,
they could have built
that
up
is-
Agent Kallus as well.
Yeah, that is something I actually want to bring up. You don't see Tarkin is not in the trailer at all.
Yeah, no, I
so
know
it kind of makes
that,
me
yeah.
it makes me wonder, like, are they going to make him stick around, or is it just kind of like Vader's in charge? I'm going to go work on the Death Star now.
Yeah, you handle that, Vader. I'm off.
Yeah, that is another thing too of what you mentioned about Agent Kallus. Agent Kallus is in the trailer several moments actually, and it seems like they're going to be developing him a lot more, which is actually something I'm looking forward to.
Like,
because,
come on, let's do that already.
Yeah, well, I actually weirdly enough, Agent Kallus was a character that I really did want to see developed more. I liked where they were going with him in those few episodes that really showed him prominently. So I'm actually really hoping in season 2 that it's Kallus's time to shine. Hopefully they'll betray him. And it looks like that is what they are going to be doing because he is fighting, he is communicating in that trailer. So there's a hope for me. I just want to see him at least fight Zeb one more time.
Yeah, definitely. I do like him as a character. They could have made him a lot bigger than he was. There was no need to have him just be a background person that fades away.
No, yeah.
He should have been more significant, and he could have been a new, not Moff candidate necessarily, but someone of that stature,
Yeah.
threat. But they didn't.
They built him up a lot too before the series came out.
They
so
did.
I was
Yeah.
surprised.
It just kind of fell flat after a while. It's like, oh, okay, well he's now been undermined. Let's bring in Tarkin, and then
Yeah.
sort of like a background
Yeah.
person. It's like,
Fun
it's
fact. Sorry.
too much too soon, basically.
Yeah.
Fun
Yeah.
fact.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Fun fact. Agent Kallus was originally going to be a Chiss.
that would
that'd
be
be
interesting.
cool. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
There's some.
Indeed.
I think there's some early concept art you could look up. He was originally going to be a Chiss.
That would have been cool. I love the Chiss.
I'm not quite sure why they changed it.
I want to see the Chiss ascendancy again. I don't want them to sweep that under the carpet because that was always really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, come on, Grand Admiral Thrawn is probably one of the finest Star Wars villains ever conceived.
I have a
Finest,
feeling they
definitely.
might, at the very least, mention him. I have just an inkling.
I don't know if you were at the convention. The guy who was dressed up as Thrawn, throughout the whole weekend, he said that he has actually
that guy.
emailed. He emailed Lucas several times that they said they might be hinting at Thrawn at some point. So
Ooh.
hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we? Another aspect of the trailer is that a lot more of the Alliance is being brought in.
Right.
You see Bail Organa. You see several more ships. You see what was the name of the
Ahsoka,
squadron?
Ahsoka.
Yeah, well, I was gonna wait to get to her.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What was the name of Eagle Squadron? They're
Right.
they're kind of like the new. Well, they're like the front
Rogue
line.
Squadron.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron of that
Yeah,
era, which is
yeah.
interesting. I don't know. So I really like that they're expanding more with the Alliance, like showing just how deeply rooted this organization is and where they are. I really hope we get to see more of Bail Organa because I can't get enough of him.
Yes, I want to see the Alliance leadership in action.
What? Bail Organa's cool, Antoine.
Yeah, I know that was a thing. I didn't know people like Bail Organa.
Bail Organa's
Yeah, I
cool.
love him. Yeah, he's great.
Oh, yeah, I didn't
He's
know that.
Only
I
he
thought
would
he
go.
was-
He's the guy who goes to the Jedi Temple while it's on fire to see if he can help as a senator.
That's true. That's
Brilliant.
true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
You don't like Antoine?
No, I mean I just never thought any. I didn't
Oh, okay.
bad or good. I just never really thought much about him.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
But I want
Yeah.
to see more
And
about
it's-
the Alliance leadership in general.
Yeah. Mon
Right.
Mothma and
Yes,
Admiral
Mon
Akbar.
Mothma. And I want to see Garm Bel Iblis as well. I want him brought back. He was a great part of the Thrawn trilogy.
We have Rex and Hondo coming back though.
Yes,
I know.
Hondo's weird.
I love.
Weird
I'm
thing.
sorry, Hondo. I really like Hondo.
Oh, so
he's
do
like
I.
he's a huge guilty pleasure for me. Every time he speaks, it's like gold.
How
and
good
like
can
in
they be? They are running from
running
Kenobi.
from Kenobi. and like in that trailer, he's just like his old self, like we are going on an adventure. It's like yes, I love this pirate guy. He's so great.
He's a lot of fun. I do enjoy
I
him.
don't care if it's just for one episode. Just the fact that he's in there is just like
Yeah.
yes.
I just like the
please.
beard things, like the tendrils. Like Not
Yeah.
that. They look a bit weird. A bit too.
Well, Weequay can grow facial hair.
Yeah, no, I know. It seems a bit odd for him. He's more like
Facial
a sharp
technicals.
pirate, but
Yeah, but it's just typical Hondo. Even when he's old, he's still a pirate to the core.
yeah.
I'm a little
like how
curious
they-
what. Yeah, sorry.
I liked how they aged the clone troopers properly. Like Rex is the old like he should be.
Well, he looks like he gained some weight, if you ask me.
I mean, he has been
God.
fighting, so yeah.
Him and the other clones.
Rex.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I was right about them not all being killed off and still some of them being loyal.
Yeah, Rex is back, so that's something that a lot of people in particular got hyped up about. I mean, how could you not? If Rex is so popular now.
I want to see him match
They
up
don't.
against Cody.
They don't explain exactly why he disobeyed the orders and why he's in exile now. So that'll be interesting. That.
Well, yeah, they'll explain it in the episode, but Filoni did say there is an explanation of how they altered the Order 66. What do they have, like a tumor in them, kind
Yeah,
of?
the tumor chip thing.
Yeah, tumor. And he actually says that there's a very specific thing, a conflict that's going to come up. He said, while fans love Rex, Kanan not so much, because Kanan doesn't trust clones at all because of what happened to his master and him. So when he's going to come up in the episode, there's going to be a lot of conflict between Kanan and Rex.
Yeah, which makes me wonder: are they going to bring Cody into play at some point?
That's what I want to see.
What would be very interesting to see, it's like because when you think about like
Rex.
Cody, well, yeah, not just that, but like Cody and Rex, they worked alongside each other. But the thing is, we all know what Cody ended up doing in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh god, that's
Blast
second
him!
thought.
Really
Creepy old
quickly.
man appears on my hologram telling me to kill the person I've been fighting with for 3 years. Okay.
Yep. Boom.
Making
It
a
made
joke
me
about
wonder,
the
like,
lightsaber.
I'd like to see them just have like a little conversation, like, "You're the traitor. No, you're the traitor. You're the traitor." It's like,
I know,
you
precisely. It's like,
Yeah.
why did you betray it? I didn't betray him, Rex. Or I didn't betray him, Cody. You did. Like, it's great. Your
shoulders,
commander
follow
is
order.
leading me. It's like, he's not my commander anymore. It's like, great. A Mexican standoff type thing with Vader, Ahsoka, Rex, and Cody.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know all the clones' names, but Commander Wolf, I think, is one of them. Because if you look, one of the clones has one of his eyes missing.
Please.
I believe
Flo
so.
lives.
He doesn't live.
I want it to be true, and if anyone will do it, then it will be Filoni.
He's not. No.
This just kind of goes back to what I was saying about my serious dislike for the idea of Order 66 being a chip implanted in the head rather than indoctrination, because it means that they actually got to go to the effort of coming up with some dumb explanation for how they overcame the chip, whereas when it was just the indoctrination, they didn't need to explain it because it was actually pointed out in several books that some clone troopers, due to their experiences, started bucking the conditioning, and some of them were, even rebelling against the Republic actively. It's like, hell, they even had that with Commander Slick in Season 1 of TCW, so why they were building up the whole idea of some clone troopers being rebellious. So why the hell would they completely undermine this whole idea by putting in the damn control chips in their brain?
It was probably a Lucas mandate more than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ugh.
I don't know if it was a Lucas mandate, but
Or
yeah, it was-
so it probably came from that side of things anyway.
I don't know. I can't even. I wouldn't
Yeah.
even. I can't even see Lucas doing that. I think that came from somebody else. Give Lucas some credit, guys.
No. It seems like that's sort of a vein of thought.
I
Anyway.
spent years trying to give him credit, and he kept on disappointing me.
Fair enough. You're right.
So what
so,
else happened in the trailer that we haven't spoken about?
Well, the
new
Inquisitors. There's more
yeah.
Inquisitors.
Yes.
So
like the look
we
of
know that the Inquisitors are well, we are confirmed now that the Inquisition, like a legit organization, there's more of them.
Yeah, and Connor was right when he mentioned before about how it might be a standard weapon they have for the whole.
Yeah, they have the Roto Saber. They all use it.
Yeah, which is interesting. Interesting choice.
We don't
of
know
standard
who they
weapons.
are yet, but I like their designs.
Yes, I do as well.
The fact that one of them is cloaked makes me think one might be Barris Sophie.
Yeah, I
Because
thought
at
that.
first I was denying it. And I was like, no, why would they? No, don't do that, please. But I mean, it would make sense, I guess, considering where she came from in the Clone Wars, and the fact that her face is covered. They're not showing her. They show the other guy's face, but not her. So I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I really hope.
You might
I
have a
don't-
face off
I don't-
between.
It would
I
just-
have
Tano and
it would
her.
just be
mixed
the
feelings about that.
Personally, I'm totally okay with the idea of Barasafi showing up as an Inquisitor, but I would have much preferred her continuing on with the Ventress sabers than going for the Inquisitor Roto saber.
Right. That's the reason why I
Yeah.
don't think it is Barris, or it shouldn't be Barris, because she's using that crazy weapon. She's an actual Jedi, so she should know how to fight. She doesn't need some augmentation, to help her.
She doesn't need something like that weapon to make up the difference because she's already got good
Exactly.
skills of her own.
For me, it would
I
be the
don't
like-
final
want to
nail
use
in the
the
coffin.
Roto Saber.
For me, it would be the final nail in the coffin for her motivation, though, because there is absolutely no reason that the Barris that turned would be
Considering
interested
the
in this.
amount, considering how little explanation they put into having her turn in the first place, the idea of her ending up siding with the Empire just because she's a psycho Darksider now, actually, at this point, it's like, I'd be willing to accept it because her turn in the first place didn't make any sense. So
Oh, of course.
why?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But the whole thing they gave was that she was against the whole violence of the Order. So going
Right,
for
so
the Empire,
continuing
which is
that,
perpetual violence machine, seems a bit odd.
yeah, exactly.
I
Even if
think
she
it-
has
I-
lost her way.
I'm hoping it's not. It could be a Mirialan because the concept art shows it is a Mirialan. Hopefully, it's just a non-Barris Mirialan.
It's Luminara. No.
Odd, oh God, odd species to go for if it isn't her, though, for the Inquisitor. They have
Well, it's
more to
unique.
draw
I
on.
mean,
Unless they're just trying to be a red herring,
yeah. So that's that. What's I guess we should talk about Ahsoka now because she's featured several times in the trailer. She doesn't do much. She's just kind of there.
She's just there. Yeah.
Being a
They said
soldier.
specifically, Dave said he doesn't want it to become a Clone Wars sequel. So he says the people who are in the Clone Wars are just going to be like, have their little, guest appearance, but not actually be like a
Yeah.
continuous
I mean, we
thing.
know Ahsoka's gonna fight, but she's not gonna be like
Right.
a prominent figure.
And it's confirmed that her and Vader will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it
I'm
is?
looking
Of
forward to
course.
that.
Is
They
it
will.
really? Like legit confirmed.
Yeah, no, legit
Personally-
confirmed by Dave Filoni, yeah.
Oh,
Personally,
yay.
I personally hope that she does figure out that Vader is Anakin Skywalker and then gets killed because that would just be a nice little horrifying thing to sober things up and bring it all back down to earth. Have it find out that her master is now this symbol of darkness and evil, and he just cut her head off.
It would add to Vader, but I don't think he needs adding to. It subtracts too much from the not tight bow of Ahsoka's character at the moment for that to be the case. It would be an unnecessary sacrifice on the part Pier for me, from a storytelling standpoint. She's a great character, and then after that moment, forever, her end would be killed by Vader, and that would just be it.
Yeah, that'll.
But
I'm a
still,
little in the middle.
It also the other thing is I've said the same thing about the Force Unleashed 2 is it makes a lot more sense to me for basically all of the Jedi characters to be killed off before Luke Skywalker joins, because why would Luke Skywalker spend 3 years dicking around improvising on his own instead of going to these other Jedi members of the Alliance and training with them?
Yeah,
That's a
that is
really, really good point.
Which
It's an annoying
means means
problem.
that they basically all have to die. So
Die
give
or
them
Which is
go
all,
away.
so wrong.
so
Yeah.
give them all
Wrong.
glorious, horrific death scenes at Vader's hands.
Like I say, they were all on
That's
Alderaan.
fine.
They were all on
Don't-
Alderaan looking
don't
at the
end
sun, and then
Don't end the series on Alderaan.
That could really
Please.
work too. They could be an Alderaan, yeah, that's true.
Please,
that would be a
no.
really bad end to the characters. Though that would just be, Kanan,
Just
Ezra, and Ahsoka would be screwed over by that.
That'd be the worst. Well, actually, what you were going off earlier, Connor, I would actually prefer Ahsoka finds out, she escapes, but then she kind of has to live with it for a couple of episodes, and then she gets killed in her second confrontation. Because I don't just want to see her be like, "Oh my God, you're Anakin," dead. I want to see her be like, "Oh my God, you're Anakin," and actually have her
sit with it.
absorb the knowledge of that, and actually just maybe she they all escape Vader, but she just kind of goes in her room just to kind of sulk and just be like,
curled
"Oh
up
my."
in fetal position on her bed, just kind of sucking her thumb.
That's not
Yeah.
Ahsoka though. I want to see her have that reaction and then go back and think, okay, I need to try and redeem him, and then have a whole thing, because obviously it can't be about Vader and Ahsoka specifically.
fail the
but have
redemption.
not just that, but have Kanan and Ezra be against it. Like have them be the people like we can't just let him redeem himself, we can't forgive him, etc. And then have her be no, we have to try. It's and then she goes and not. I don't want her to die. I want something else to happen. I don't know what though. But yeah, she goes and confronts him, or maybe she convinces Ezra and Kanan to try and help or something, or she's about to turn him back because only she other than Luke has the power too, and then Ezra and Kanan come and screw it over, or
That
something. I don't know,
could work.
something like that.
That could
Not
be a cool
intentionally,
conflict
but
of
they do it
interest.
by accident.
Yeah, that'd be a cool conflict of interest, actually.
And then that I don't know.
And a good
means
lesson,
that that's
too, a
the
good
reason
lesson.
they leave or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so anything
Yeah,
else?
Filoni said that they don't specifically have to die, but yeah, they either have to die or go away, because they can't be there while Luke's in the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
it's like just, hey Luke, if you have some trouble training, we got 3 other Jedi who can help you.
Yeah, seriously.
Like what?
Well, 1 and 2.5. Well, 1.5. 2.
Yeah, 2.5. 2.5.
1 and 2 halves.
Yeah, 1 and 2 halves. That's better. Yeah.
One
But
and
yeah,
two halves.
that's pretty much the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ended off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, which we know how that's probably going to end. So.
Yeah.
I do love how they for what we saw of it, they got Vader's fighting style down.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yes, it was a bit more
When
bludgeony than
Kanan tries to
precise,
stab
but
him, he just grabs his hand.
Yeah,
No.
it was definitely a bit more bludgeony than precise, but that's Vader as well. There's 2 sides of him, so I hope we do see the sort of Makashi elements sort of seep in and later. But yeah, they didn't do it. He wasn't flipping around or anything. So
Right.
One thing I did like about that bit where it's like where Kanan goes for the thrust against Vader and Vader just kind of dodges aside and grabs his wrist is that the Inquisitor did the exact same thing in Kanan's first fight with him, and it kind of implies to me that maybe the original Inquisitor might not just be any Inquisitor, but he might have been a student of Vader specifically.
Yes, actually, yeah. In the Rebels visual guide, it does say that he is a direct apprentice to a Vader. So I think he was probably one of the more prodigious ones. I personally think.
That
which
actually
can
makes
add
a lot of
credence
sense. Yeah,
Sorry.
that actually makes a lot of sense because so many aspects of the Inquisitor's style and his approach to combat are things about Vader, like that whole emphasis on analyzing the opponent's style, like that pattern recognition. It's like I kind of figured out that that's what Vader's all about. He's like, machine man who looks at you like a computer does, tries to predict your actions based on what you've done before. And that's kind of what he taught the Inquisitor to do, to analyze his opponents and figure out what they're going to do next and preempt them.
Yeah, and then Dumach tactics, he used that the same way Vader would have used Dumach as well.
yeah, just trolling Ezra. Sort of,
Yeah, which is pretty brutal too. I mean, he forces him to slit his own throat. That's
the Sith for you.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
cool. So that is Rebels.
Looking
That is
forward to
Rebels.
it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
moving
Alright.
on to the much smaller but not insignificant Rogue One, then.
Yes,
Yeah,
the first
no.
ever
Anthology,
standalone
Star Wars
film.
anthology.
Yeah, standalone film.
Very interesting.
I personally, there's not really much to the trailer. It's just
No.
a camera
Yeah.
panning,
Just these TIE fighters
panning through a
Sorry.
camera panning through a forested valley, coming to the end of the valley. You see the moon, and then you realize that the moon is a fucking Death
That's no
Star.
moon. It's a
That's
space
a-
station.
yes. Yeah, space station. Yeah.
Station.
Yeah. I mean, that,
which if they're
Oops, sorry,
if
you
they're
lagged out a bit
holding
there,
to the
Connor.
classic EU, sorry.
Sorry, you lagged out a bit
Oh.
there.
Oh shit. Well, if they're holding to the, I was saying, if they're holding to the classic EU in that instance, maybe the forested world they're on is actually the jungle world of Desperay, which is the planet that the Death Star was built around in the Legends continuity. It's like it was the site of an Imperial prison, and they used the prison population as slave labor.
It would make sense. Did they
Yeah.
make mention when Tarkin was orbiting? Because in the Tarkin book, he's overseeing the Death Star construction, isn't he? Did they make mention of the planet there? Was that Belderon?
Oh,
I think
know what you're talking about.
I don't know if Desperay
know.
was mentioned. I think it was though.
I hope so.
Just as a
So,
general synopsis of what the movie is about.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's
'cause we know
gonna
more
be
about it than the trailer, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer isn't, but the panel that they had gives a lot more information. So it goes, a band of resistant fighters unite for a daring mission to steal the Death Star plans in Star Wars anthology film Rogue One. That's like the general basis.
Yeah.
They're stealing the plans. And the reason has been an insight that Vader will be an antagonist in the film, to the point where I think this is actually going to lead right into A New Hope, where they hand off the plans to Leia and R2D2 and just C-3PO all that stuff. And then because there's a line in A New Hope where Vader says, "There'll be no one to stop us this time," and this is going to refer to who stopped them
That
before.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a
That'll
last
work.
stand scenario, or something
And,
like that.
and another thing too, I heard there's been some rumors that Sabine is going to be in the film. I heard,
Right, I've heard that,
which would
rumor
be
too.
interesting.
Which actually was sort of confirmed because the actress, I forget her name, but during the panel, she said something about, "Oh, this is currently her family right now, but not going forward." And everybody in the audience was like, "What? And, like everybody was like
just
going
said-
crazy, and then she was like all red and stuff, and Filoni was like,
Fed the swarm.
like that. So I'm guessing she's gonna leave their group and do her own thing. I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, there's a rumor that she will be in Rogue
That'll
One.
be that would be interesting. A nice little connection.
Yeah, it'd be a nice connection, nice cohesion. But yeah, Gareth Edwards. Oh, go ahead.
And well, Sabine is, quote unquote, a Mandalorian. So it kind of follows that she might just run off on her own at some point because Mandalorians are fairly solitary. I say quote unquote because I'm totally on board with the group that says that she's just wearing the armor and playing with guns and that's it.
Yeah,
she's very skilled.
She is skilled, yeah.
You can be a skilled marksman and unarmed combat without being a Mandalorian.
But I was focusing more on the fact that she's doing all the acrobatics and stuff. I mean, granted, she's going up against the most incompetent force in the universe, but she is still what they're trying to display is going pretty well. But more specifically, they've mentioned that the film's going to have the tone-wise more be like a war film, isn't it?
Yes, I was just about to mention that. I was just about to mention that. Yeah. So I'm glad that we're going to be talking about Battlefront right after this because I feel like these two are very connected in that way. Is that it's Gareth Edwards during the panel? He made a very specific quote that really landed for me, and he said something that God is no longer here to save us. So what do we do when he's no longer here? And I like that. I like that the idea of like having us mortal beings having to fend for ourselves. We don't have force sensitive. We don't have Jedi temple and Jedis to help us all the time. We have to do it ourselves. And that landed for me. I don't know why it landed for me, but I like the idea of having a godless world where the mortals have to fend for themselves. And I like the fact that it's going to be a war film. They have the cinematographer from Zero Dark 30, which was a really cool war film. They had some guy from Black Hawk Down doing it. They have a lot of people coming in. Saving Private Ryan, production designer. They have all the elements to make this a Star Wars.
Besides, I want to see
hopefully
it
doesn't get too bleak as far as tone goes. I mean, this is still Star Wars, guys.
Yeah, but it doesn't. But the thing is,
it's anthology.
It's anthology. It's outside the main saga, so that's the thing. It can take these new tones and work with them. I want to see Battle of Hoth. The whole like running through the trench sort of thing. You get a little glimpse of the warfare. Like, oh crap, we're being completely demolished by AT-AT bodies flying. I want to see that, but for a film. Just the whole gritty side of things, because Star Wars never shows the whole.
Grid of war.
Yeah, the closest it ever gets is Yuzon Vong War. That's like the closest it gets to the gritty, realistic death. Completely doomed to all side of things. Game of Thronesy kind of thing, which I think they definitely need to dip their toes in for this film.
Part of me is actually even more excited for Rogue One than even Episode 7, because it's so different. I mean, of course, I'm gonna see Episode 7 more so, but like something about it is it's more intriguing for me than Episode 7 because something's
it's
gonna
such
be
a leap from the traditional.
Right,
and it's what it represents as well, because we could get so much more after this.
Yeah,
correct.
It's the movie where they might actually do something new, whereas Episode 7 there's a very real. Well, I personally think it's more of a guarantee, but very real possibility that it's just gonna be pure pandering to nostalgia and nothing else. Whereas Rogue One is the one that's actually willing to take the risk and do something new.
Yeah,
you never know.
And again, after this, they could think, "Oh, look what we can do," and this will go on to be like 10 films that build the universe properly.
Right.
It's not specifically about this story, but that kind of different jumping points. Oh, we'll talk about this side of the universe. Talk about this side of the universe.
It's kind of cool because it's kind of like the EU is actually finally coming to movies, kind of, if you think about it in that regard. It's like the first EU movie in a way, if you think about it that way.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Took them long enough.
Cool.
Yeah. We just have to hope that they start re-bringing the Legend stuff. I want them to do this film and then immediately afterwards fit everything they can from the old canon back into the universe. I don't think they will, but I hope they go. That's my hope.
You just want to see Pelion on the big screen, don't you?
Not Pelion, Thrawn. But yeah. I also want the entire thing with Rey and Kylo Ren and everything to be just a false pseudonym and have the kids come back as real names. I still hold up hope.
Yeah.
Hope is the first step on the road to disappointment, but still.
But yeah, that's pretty much all we can say about Rogue One, pretty much. Yeah, we said pretty much it's a war film. It's yeah. That's pretty much it.
So Battlefront trailer.
Even more.
Battlefront. Have you guys played Battlefront? Has everybody here played the game?
Yep.
Have we played Battlefront?
There was a time when I played it.
I don't know. He might just be into like the books and stuff. I don't
know. No. Battlefront. I love Battlefront. There was a time when I played.
Battlefront was my first ever PlayStation game.
It's awesome.
I'm not even kidding.
One of my first ever Xbox games.
It's
Well, I should rephrase. First PlayStation game I owned, not played, but
it's one of my favorite games of all time. Game series, I suppose. Both of them, I sort of count both of them together.
Yeah,
but
same
and
here.
it's also the first game I ever knew that there wasn't like a film-based game growing up where everybody had it and everybody loved it. It was like, when Call of Duty 4 came out and then suddenly everybody loved it, and obviously it's been flogged to death now, but originally it was kind of like really good and everyone loved it and it was new. Everyone had it. But for me, Battlefront was the first one that everyone had from all different walks of gaming.
Right.
because it was so good.
Yeah, and it was an amazing game, and they don't
Great
seem to be
mechanic.
showing anything amazing about it.
Yeah, I do not have good hopes for this.
Well, the trailer
prob-
itself was exciting. It's the press
the
event
trailer-
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
The
dampened
problem,
everything.
the thing is, so many people. I've read a lot of comments where people have criticized the original Battlefront 1 and 2 as just being Battlefield with a Star Wars coat of paint. No, you people are idiots.
Yeah, it's nothing
This
like that.
is Battlefield with a Star Wars coat of paint. It's like everything that I'm hearing about all of the development and everything about what the game is going to be like. It literally is just Battlefield with a Star Wars coat of paint. It's like
Wait.
everything is set up in the exact same way, and it's like, God damn you people, no.
They
not-
took everything that made Battlefront and essentially took it out.
Yeah, no space battles, no new maps, no galactic conquest, no campaign single player. Just
They-
everything
they-
good. They've stripped it bare. And
It's crap.
you
It's
can't even
total
drive an
crap.
AT-AT. You can't drive an AT-AT. Why?
Yeah, no, what the hell is this?
There's a reason that Hoth was most people's favorite, or most people's one of favorite maps, and that's why they're putting this one, because you had the whole battle. You could put, I want to go in an AT. You're in an AT. You want to go in a land speeder. You're in a land speeder, air speeder.
Yeah.
So-
Want to just
the
be an
hell is
infantryman
this?
on the ground? You can be an infantryman on the ground.
yeah, but now you're just
Now-
no,
It's
sorry.
complete
Now they're
garbage.
just saying-
It's complete garbage.
They're just saying that all you can be is infantryman on the ground because all they want is they just want to turn this into basically a purely multiplayer game. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
fuck you. One of my
Which is
favorite things.
oh god.
One of my favorite things about Battlefront was the fact that you didn't have to play it online. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like so often I would be at my grandparents' playing on my uncle's Xbox. They don't have internet. Well, they do have internet, but their bandwidth isn't enough to accommodate Xbox Live. So all of your gameplay has to be offline. So of course I would just play Battlefront, and it's just like do Galactic Conquest, do little one-off matches on one-off battles in Tatooine or whatever. And it's like I would have a whole lot of fun doing this.
Yeah.
And I'd be able to just play offline. But they're basically saying, no, our Battlefront is pure multiplayer. You don't like that? Screw you. And
That's
it's like,
been EA's mantra for like
Yeah,
the
no,
past
screw.
5
And
years
it's
now.
a stupid decision, which I really don't understand why people support it, because it is you're literally taking half of gaming and just getting rid of it.
Yeah, there's no objective defense of it. They have completely taken everything good about Battlefront, or not everything, but pretty much everything, and they've stripped it bare. Again, all the things I listed earlier.
they're
it's
just
gone.
trying they're just trying to turn it into another one of those sort of shooter franchises that all of the development studios have in their stable that can always be trusted to bring in a consistent amount of profit. And the problem is that this new Battlefront game is almost guaranteed to make a profit. Why? Because all of the casual gamers who are actually into Battlefield and Call of Duty will just be flocking to this, even if the established fan base thumbs their nose at it.
And the annoying thing is
Yeah.
all of those gamers would flock to Battlefront if it was the same as it used to be.
yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Because everyone did that.
But they're taking the quick and easy path.
I
They're
know.
They're
basically
taking the lazy path, not quick and easy, lazy
Yeah,
path.
it's just.
Yeah, it's like basically everyone's just being dazzled by the graphics.
Even they're not
all
that great.
Yeah,
That's not
But yeah.
like the trailer by itself was awesome, but once you hear about what they're actually doing with the game, that's when it's like, oh,
Well, that's another flaw too. The trailer was completely pre-rendered. There's no gameplay.
Yeah, which is a
yeah.
huge flaw.
It's just the engine was used, but yeah, it's a
Yeah, it won't look even
cinematic,
remotely as good as
yeah.
that. And even if it was half as good as that, it wouldn't be worth everything else that came from it. And the trailer, I didn't find that exciting either. I found the first one with just the.
oh the
of the
snow
AT&T
one,
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
Black Battlefront. I was like, yes,
That was
glorious.
cool.
It was just thank you, it's coming back. And then everything since then, it's been like downhill.
Just crap. Just utter crap.
Like, personally, I enjoy this trailer as a bit of visual spectacle. It's
Yeah,
a
me too.
great, fun
Yeah.
battle scene. And, if they put this into one of the movies, I would not object in the slightest because it's actually really cool to watch. But
Yeah.
the problem is that it's a sort of thing that stands up as a short film in its own right, but when you take into account what it's supposed to be promoting, it's brought down so far because what they're doing with Battlefront is just like, God damn it, people, what the fuck?
It's inexcusable. You don't take something that people have been waiting for that long and just shit on it. It's
No.
Yeah.
Like, you remember when Battlefront 3 was originally going to be made?
The
They had
leaked
that.
beta.
Yeah.
So good.
That was going to be awesome. But
It was gonna be ground to space combat.
yeah,
and
ground to space.
everything.
That
Yes!
should be the next step. We shouldn't be stripping things out. Like,
We're
add to
reverting,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're
Yeah.
only, another thing too, they're only doing original trilogy maps.
yeah. So why?
Yeah.
Just skew it all.
Yeah, it's like...
Even
and
the
thing is-
original Battlefront had original trilogy plus the prequel maps. Or all the prequels that were out at the time,
The
because
amount
Revenge
of
of the Sith
detail
hadn't come
that
out
went
yet.
into it.
Yeah. It's like
Ugh.
it's like they're going beyond regressing. They are completely devolving to an even more primitive state because the original Battlefront offered more features than this game does. It has more maps, it has more factions, and of course because they were the original Battlefronts were based around class systems for all of the soldiers, it gave you more leeway for picking characters. Whereas their new system, which is based around loadouts, it's like that doesn't give you leeway. They're basically just going to say, okay, pick yourself one rifle, pick yourself one pistol, go.
And they could
And it's
merge the
like-
two and make it work in a really interesting new way. They didn't even
But
have to
they-
get rid of it.
They choose not to because they'd much rather just adapt their existing stuff and just slap a Star Wars coat of paint on it rather than actually put in the effort. Because it's like they know that they don't need to put in the effort because they know that they're guaranteed to make a profit no matter what. So it's not like they need good word of mouth from established fans when they know that they got a whole horde of dunderheads that will flock to them no matter what they crank out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's complete and utter garbage.
But we'll get to see more of it at E3, so we'll see like how
It's not gonna
this is
help.
coming into play. We
It's
don't
not
know
gonna
yet. We have no idea.
I'm
We have no
almost
idea if it's
100% certain that this is going to flop for the people who actually care
Yeah, I
about
usually
Battlefront.
try to be as
Yeah.
as optimistic as I can, but for this one, I just can't find any silver
Every
lining.
everything that
We
they
have one more
presented,
event that will solidify it. We have one more event.
well, it's like even if they do something to redeem themselves, I'm still going to be going into it with a sour taste in my mouth because of all the bad press that they built up initially.
And no matter what they do, it's never going to be enough. Unless they go back and completely bring everything back in. I mean, like, just the Galactic Conquest of the previous games. That shouldn't have been there, and it was, just because they could. And it was glorious. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to go, oh yeah, this is a really cool idea, let's put it in because we can. It's just going to be, no way, we don't need that, people won't care. It's
Let me equate this to my experience with SimCity, which was also done by EA. Very similar scenario happened. You see this new SimCity, you're like, oh, cool, we're gonna get a new SimCity, and you see that things are different. You don't get bigger cities and things like that, and you're like, oh, it's okay, that's cool. It'll still be SimCity, right? And then you play it, and then it's disappointing. And then they start later on with DLC and stuff, adding in the stuff that people were asking for before. But then by that point, you're so like down about it that it doesn't even do anything, which I'm hoping this is not going to be. I hope they can correct it before they get to it, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like E3 is like the last thing that will solidify it for me.
It's
will be
all
the execution of
it's
the dying
all
horse.
it's
The execution.
I have
of the
watched a
dying
whole
horse.
yeah. I have watched a whole bunch of videos done by various commentators on the video game industry who talk about that sort of marketing strategy that they did with SimCity and how groups like EA and others do that with basically everything. They force you to pay full price for what's essentially an incomplete game and then nickel and dime you on DLC, which actually, completes the game. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually do have, Galactic Conquest and ground to space combat as DLC. They just want to make sure that they can, milk you for all you're worth and make you give them more money. And it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, and even if that is the case, I'm not even going to buy it, even if they do include those things, because I think that's a despicable business strategy.
Oh, that's EA for you.
Yeah, I
Go
know.
and watch
Why
the Optional
give this to
podcast
EA?
for like hours
Of all the
discussion on that.
companies. God damn.
When did
they
it happen?
probably-
Because EA used to be cool.
Oh, yeah.
When did this happen?
New generation, after COD, pretty much. That kind of era of gaming opened up into the death of EA, really. Well, not the death, of course, the growth, but still. The corruption.
Well, it's the same sort of thing. It's the
For lack of a
same
better
sort
word.
of thing that happened. It's the same sort of thing that happened with BioWare. It's like all of the original BioWare employees who made BioWare great were eventually edged out by the new guys who just kind of cheapened everything. It's like, don't want to slam BioWare too hard because it's like they have been, kind of reclaiming their previous greatness with, Dragon Age Inquisition and such. But, Dragon Age 2 was like, the fuck is this?
It's just, it's unpleasant to think that the games industry is getting that way. I mean, it's not all bad. There are some, lights in the sky, but
Yeah. But I wanted this to be a light. And
yeah,
it didn't
so
turn
did
it
I.
into one.
They shouldn't have given it to EA if they wanted it to be a light.
Yeah.
Bad move.
Well, it's...
God damn it! Why did
It's-
LucasArts have to be closed? Why?
Oh well.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that.
That's how I heard.
So yeah, trailer stands up in as a short film in its own right, but because of what it's well, what it's advertised.
You were just
can't even
depressed
defend
now.
it.
That's it. That's it right there.
That is our
Yeah.
opinion on the.
The trailer is like a short film, but that's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay,
Just-
so
yeah.
moving on to comments then, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Who wants to go first on that one?
I'll go first. Just a little comment by Hondo Moonrazer, because
fuck. Hello.
What happened?
yeah, well,
Hello? I still.
Okay. I don't know. I can't remember if this one was already answered by one of you guys, and frankly, I don't care because it's just one of those comments where it's like not even a question; it's just
Oh,
a
there we
comment
go.
on.
It's all right.
Antoine.
Antoine's left.
Antoine.
Back in a second, guys. And
86.
we're back. Okay, sorry about that. Antoine disconnected again.
All right, so beginning on the comment section, comment by Hondo Moonrazer. Strangely enough, in the little versus community that I am part of, all 5 council members and you in particular have something of an infamous reputation. This is addressed to me specifically. As for me, the Council Versus series is the primary reason I'm on YouTube in the first place, and your videos in particular I consider to be one of the main turning points in my interaction with the Star Wars universe, up there with the films themselves and my first EU book. I, of course, don't agree with everything you say, but I still enjoy your videos above and beyond just about anyone else's. For this, I was going to say your breakdown of Exar Kun was my favorite, then I saw the Windu script. I officially cannot wait for your next verses. Smiley face. Heck, even if your next video isn't the one with Windu, I'm sure I'll enjoy it. Keep up the good work. So, basically complimenting me and... yeah.
That wasn't a question.
That wasn't
That wasn't a question
You
at
just wanted
all.
to pat your ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, he doesn't need his ego patting. Tell him how much you hate him. He's a Sith. He'll feed on that.
I feed on your hate and make it my own. Seriously, out of all of us, Connor has the best
Oh.
evil laugh.
Definitely.
And Callan does the best Sidious impression.
Which I'm not going to do now.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
Yes,
not.
you are.
No, I'll
Yes, you
laugh in
are.
an evil way at some point when we mention it in the future. That's fine. I may have even done it this episode. I think I did earlier.
Fine.
So who's going
Well,
next?
I'll do mine since it's a pretty simple question.
Okay.
That's cool. As soon as if it decides to pull up, yes, it does. This one is from I'm a Magneta00. He asks, so do you guys, or do you have a store where you buy them? Basically,
Sorry,
just the books.
half
you-
that question was cut off again.
Okay, want me to start over again?
Yeah, sorry, I just said the question
Yes.
again. Read it out once more.
Okay, my mistake.
No, that's fine.
What?
Just did cut out, that's all.
Yeah, okay. This one comes from I'm a Magneta001, and he asks, so do you guys get the books online, or do you have a store where you buy them? Basically, just relating to the books we review. I myself actually live about 2.5 exits away from a bookstore that has very consistent sales. So when a new book comes out, I just go over there, pre-order it, and then when it finally comes in, I just go and pick it up.
I just pick it up when it comes out.
Where?
The Kohl's at the city center or mall here in Edmonton. Kohl's is a bookstore for those of you who don't know.
Okay. I
We
get.
have Coles here.
I would
Okay,
of course,
good.
as far as I'm aware.
We do.
I just get mine on. I just go onto Amazon when these guys mentioned that we're doing a review. Clickety click clack click on my iPad, and then I read it on the Kindle app. I do prefer solid books, like massively, but for the sake of convenience, it's easier to get it that way.
Yes, I get comics and books digitally, Kindle, and just my computer. Just recently, I started getting books from Random House, so I get reviewer copies, which kind of suck in a way because they don't actually have any of like the covers. It's just like a PDF file, which is like kind of sucky. But I get those from there too.
Do you use like Amazon or like iBooks?
I use Kindle, which is Amazon.
It's so good. I highly recommend it to anyone. I mean, you just
Kindle is awesome.
click buy, and then 30 seconds later, you've got the entire thing. It's like done.
Like when it comes out at midnight for like a book, you get it at midnight. You know what I mean? Like it's right there.
It's great, brilliant service.
Okay, so yeah, that's how we get the books we review. So
Boom.
Do you want to do yours next, Antoine?
I didn't even know I need to pick one. I don't have one.
Okay, go scramble for one while I answer
Okay.
this question. From Tyler Beckett, which Star Wars character do you guys most relate to?
Ooh.
Very difficult one.
Like, does he mean relate to in terms of our personality or what, or we find relating to us? Because there's a distinction there.
I assume that he means which we find relation in. Like what person we feel a connection with, rather than what we are most like. But we can do both if you want, just in case.
Well, we don't have to. I've just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. I'm unsure of the answer.
Of course, I relate most to Darth Vader. Like, obviously
course
not
you
to
do.
the whole I don't
Yeah,
relate
yeah.
so much to the whole psychotic mass murderer aspect of it, but the whole sort of machine mind mentality where he really wants to create this form of order and create universal peace, and he just really clings to this whole ideal in his head. He wants an absolute that he can align himself with and just define himself by, something that is always utterly reliable, unchanging, something that will stay consistent and can always be, relied upon as a solid thing in this universe. But the thing is, such a thing cannot exist, and while he hasn't quite wrapped his head around it, so he's constantly searching for that thing, but is getting nowhere, and is so unbelievably frustrated, and I can really relate to that intense feeling of frustration and existential angst in a way, because it's like, that's something that I myself struggle with every single day as a guy with Asperger's, because I kind of have that very similar machine mind mentality. I want that absolute that I can cling to, but the fact that not only is it not there, but it can never be there, is just a source of such intense fury and frustration for me. It's like rage against the heavens.
Interesting.
And it's something I really relate to and kind of sympathize with them about. Now everything else about him just sucks. He's an asshole, but
Yeah.
that one aspect of his personality is something that I really do understand because I know what it's like.
For me, setting aside my channel avatar, I guess you could say I am mostly related to Luke Skywalker. Mostly the biggest connection comes from our beginnings in life, in a certain sense, because I came from very humble beginnings, and I had a very, very, I guess, quote unquote, abnormal relationship with my father. He actually did hurt other people in my family, particularly my mother, in a very unsavory sort of way, which really affected my development when I was younger. And in a sense, also in a sense of, I'm the kind of person who I really like to learn from other people around me. And one of Luke's biggest aspects of a character is that he takes the feelings and takes the lessons he learns from others as much as he can in his real life. And that's something that I value very highly, and it's something that I've always done with my entire life. Another relation to that is kind of in a sense where Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of served as Luke's quote-unquote father in a sense. He wasn't related to Luke, but he did kind of serve as that father figure, or that sort of father mentor sort of figure. I had that actually in my life. There was this person who did raise me and instilled me with a lot of the values I still have with me today, who wasn't related to me but really did care for me, and I still care for them, almost more than anybody else, and I kind of share that relation from Luke to that extent, if that makes sense, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm also so that's just kind of where I relate to Luke because we had quote unquote similar beginnings, and I always try to learn from my mistakes as much as I can in my life, and I always try lessons other people teach me and apply them to the best of my ability. And I also try not to get bogged down with the past too much because I feel that sometimes a person's past, especially if it's troubled, can be far more of a burden than it can be a positive influence, which you know which is not something you should carry with you. So that's me. Sorry if I was getting a little too deep there.
We're getting very deep, guys. No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just still scrambling around for a character. Antoine, do you have one yet?
I have one. I was scrambling too.
Good.
Okay, so for me, I guess the one I would relate to most is Jolie Bindo from the first Knights of the Old Republic. The reason for that is mostly because of his sensibilities and his own insights into life. Like him, I don't like identifying with any specific groups. I don't like being having a placeholder over me. Like I don't identify with Democratic or Republic or whatever, or Republican. Like in America, we have party systems or whatever, right? I have no party. In the same way that Jolie was neither Jedi nor Sith. He wasn't even. I don't even think he would consider himself a gray Jedi. I think he was just a Force sensitive. He didn't. He was just a being. He's just a person.
He was just a man. He wasn't think about things in terms of, this is the denomination I fall into. It's just he's saying, I'm just a guy. That's all I am.
Yeah, and he never was like thinking like evil and good in terms of like dark side, light side, or anything like that. It's just like you do your choices, and it's just what it is. And I feel very similar to that, in that same thing. Something Shakespeare said that was very deep to me is that nothing is neither evil nor nothing is neither good or bad. Only thinking makes it so. Only our perceptions make it so. And I don't like having some sort of group tell me what is right and wrong. I like having my own, insights on life and things like that. So I identify most with his character, I would say.
I still haven't got a character.
Plo Koon, man.
I wouldn't say I relate to him. I share a lot of similar ideas and beliefs and sensibilities, but beyond that, Star Wars is one of the rare fictional universes that I don't actually have someone I really relate to in it.
Well, then let's just talk about fiction in general. Then, is there a fictional character in general that you really relate to?
David Tennant's 10th Doctor, Mordin Solus from Mass Effect, Batman from the animated series. Those characters are the people I find the most powerful for me. Like the most people I connect to, if you know what I mean. They're the people I look at and go, these are the great characters of the world. Just mostly the sensibilities of their character, the way they value different things in life, the respect for life, the respect for morality, respect for general existence that most people can barely even comprehend, let alone understand. The same thing, even see, let alone comprehend. I appreciate that. In Star Wars, there isn't a character that has that. I don't think, personally. They touch on it in different areas, but we haven't seen one that's fully developed yet.
I would agree with that because it's like both the Jedi and the Sith have a tendency to seriously identify themselves by their ideals first and foremost. It's like it's more I am who I am because of what's written in this book rather than I am who I am because I choose to do this instead of that.
Yeah, and even if there are people that choose their own way and choose their own path, we haven't seen it shown that they actually get it. It's hard to describe, but like with Mordin Solus, the complexity of his character, he will commit great evil, but understand that it's evil for the greater good. He won't go, oh yeah, I'm doing something for the greater good, therefore it's good. No, you're still committing great evil, but you're doing it for the greater good. It's balance of intention, balance of act, balance of result. It's not just
he's honest.
thing.
He's honest with himself, and I guess so are you. It's like you're not just spewing out platitudes and adhering to these high-minded ideals and using that to justify yourself. You're just kind of trying to balance things as best you can based on how you perceive them.
Yeah, and there is a balance to be struck. It does exist. Objective morality is a reality, in my opinion. And those characters embody that, so that's why I relate to them. But none of them in Star Wars, I'm afraid. I hope that answers it, though, as best as possible.
Wow, we got really deep into that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was good.
Yeah, okay, so who's up?
Yeah, Antoine's question next, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I just grabbed this thingy on here. Okay, so
This
Skull
thingy.
Reaper. Skull Reaper says on the next Council Forcecast, the casters will be playing Star Wars the RPG. Watch as Evan Nova and Jin Sarai ready and Antoine Mandalay as newly minted Padawans in the Jedi Order the day before Order 66. How will our beloved heroes get away from the new Empire and survive Darth Vader in the 501st? Has cut down everyone in the temple. Find out next week on the Council Forcecast. P.S. Forcecast, go with it. It will be epic campaign. Love to see what you all do. I don't know if these guys want to do it, but me and Reddy are planning on doing some sort of role playing in the future. I would definitely enjoy it. I mean,
I would love to.
I
but I
mean-
didn't know there were
I
active
thought we
plans.
were.
I'm all for it, but there was
I
actually
know I
plans.
planned it. Yeah, I know
Awesome.
I planned it. I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't know if you did.
I
Well,
haven't told me about it.
My
I'm up for
problem
that.
is that I'm already part of a D&D circle in my actual life.
So
And it's like I'm already doing it's just like I don't want a massive overload of RPG, and it's like scheduling so we could play would be a serious hassle. It's like
yeah, if I was in it, definitely.
yeah.
I
I mean,
DM my own D&D campaign and also do Dark Heresy and Death Watch as well. So I've got 3 going forward, mate. Would be fine by me, but it just scheduling issue would be.
You're part of Death Watch, the Mandalorian collab?
No, Death Watch, the 40k Death Watch.
Okay.
Warhammer 40k.
Well, for me, it's like I'd be game to do it. It's just I'd have to get some role playing training because role playing was never something I was into. So you guys would have to, give me some pointers on what to do.
Anyone can do it. It's not difficult, and everyone that gets into it properly will enjoy it. It's not something. That
If we were to
people don't.
organize it properly, I'd be all for it. It's just I would just need some training.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. I'd hope for that.
yeah,
I haven't
forward-
even attempted role playing since middle school.
It's easy. It's just acting, basically. Just
Yeah.
act like a character.
yeah.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, going forward, my brother is starting his own roleplay channel, and I'm going to be part of his campaign, where he's going to be doing a campaign during the Mandalorian Wars before Revan became Darth Revan and all that. So that'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's a
Well,
good period.
if we can organize it, I'd be all for it. So
Yeah, would we be a part of that one, Antoine, or is that a separate thing?
The Order 66 one, yeah.
No, I mean, the,
Mandalorian one's my brother's campaign.
Yeah, but would he want us in that, or I don't know.
Order
he
66
probably wants to
him
make
and-
it his own thing, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I thought.
Mandalorian's a separate thing, but we could do an Order 66 campaign. Is what I'm saying. Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
and I'll DM for that. So
Awesome.
sweet. Maybe you get a big maybe for that one. Skull Reaper.
Yeah.
So that's
Cool.
all of
Is
them.
that all of
That's
them?
it.
Is there anything
Yeah.
else we're missing?
All right. No, that's it. It's time to wrap up.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Okay.
This has been episode 13 of the Council Forcecast.
Baker's dozen, baby.
Yes.
Red October signing off. I'm sorry.
Had to do it, didn't you?
Of course I did. Okay. Okay. Properly. This is Jen Sarai signing off.
This is Antoine signing off. May the force be with you.
Evanova 95. We hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys later.
Ready for signing off. Still need to make one of those for me.
You say
Actually-
that every episode,
no.
bro.
If you guys got any ideas, I'm not one.
It's time to
for
go get some.
grandiose.
It's time to go get some. That would be so awful.
What? Sorry, you cut out.
What?
You cut out.
Oh, I was just being ridiculous.
What did you say?
I said, time to go get some tea.
Oh God, no.
That was the joke. I'm not trying to be offensive. I was just joking.
It's not offensive. I told you can't offend me. It's impossible. Anyway, goodbye.
Oh, whoa, we're still recording. Oh, yeah, bye.